Thank you. Thank you. Well, you're already judging me. That's whenever you pick a topic like this, I know I'm instantly going to be looked at from a different set of lenses. So I want to start off with a couple things. I'm going to focus a little bit today on a book called What Everybody Is Saying. It's by an author, Joe Navarro. I'm gonna chat about that in just a second there. And one of the interesting things about this author that I'm going to speak about in a little bit and kind of go over a few things is just the nonverbals in general. I sent Dave an email last night with my intro, and then I got to thinking, wow, I got to write a speech now. One of the things that I started digging into was body language in general. Now, nonverbals is not just body language. Nonverbals goes everything from dress attire to little things with what you do with your hands, and I'm going to hit on a lot of those. He opens up the book in an interesting way. He starts off with a story, and the year was 1960. Now, a backstory on Joe Navarro. He was an FBI agent. He's written 11 plus books on the topic of body language and understanding. He was actually the guy who looked and tried to find spies in espionage, and so he had a really interesting job, but he actually came here from Puerto Rico as an immigrant, and he had no English speaking skills at the time. He only understood how people verbally communicated it through their nonverbals, if that makes sense. So a couple things that I'm going to go over would be some of the basic things of nonverbals, and this is, for instance, your hands. Everyone do this with me. Your hands are here. This right here shows confidence. Not this. This is nervousness. This right here and up high is confidence. This is the most powerful nonverbal you can give someone. On the flip side of this, if you lock the hands, this is, I'm scared. This is a dangerous position for me. To simplify it as much as I can, there's two things to follow. There's the comfort levels and there's the discomfort levels. This is comfortable if you're confident. Confidence breeds comfort. This is very uncomfortable. This is tense. In his book, he actually breaks it down in three things. He says you're either going to flight, you're going to fight, or you're going to freeze. Now, he dates it back all the way to millions of years, and I won't get into that, but if you filter everything through, is the person communicating to me something that's showing that they're wanting to flee? Are they frozen and you're the predator, essentially? Just questions you can ask yourself. So going back to the story as far as how he opens the book, in 1960, the presidential candidates were John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, and for the first time ever, this presidential candidate debate was going to be televised. After the debate, they asked people, who won? Well, the people that listened to the radio said, well, Nixon won that. The people that watched it on TV said, hands down, JFK won this. And I actually watched some of the debate last night. It was very interesting, and without question, Richard Nixon sat there and he was intense. JFK looked like Cool Hand Luke. He was cooler than the other side of the pillow, and Richard Nixon looks like he just got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. So it's very evident, and I encourage you maybe just to check some of the videos and clips of that, because it is very interesting to see the difference of how confident JFK was and how at unease Richard Nixon was. So going back to just digging in a little bit of details as far as what Joe talks about in his book. Joe, I'm not on a first name basis with him. What Mr. Navarro talks about in his book as far as some nonverbals, I just want to spell out a couple, help build some comfort around this. If I can have Brad welcome me. Welcome up, Brad. Thank you, Mr. Blanc, for joining me here. The most telling part of your body is your feet. For instance, if I'm coming or Brad's approaching me in conversation and I'm standing like this, I have one of my foot off to the side, but I got one foot pointing towards him. This is saying I actually admire you as a person. I am eager to learn what you have to tell me, but my foot is saying something completely different. My foot is saying, I gotta go. In fact, I probably have to go in this direction. I don't want to talk, not because I don't like you, but because I simply don't have time. So that's one of the biggest tells is your feet. It is the most honest part of your body. Next, we would have, if we're standing here like this says, I am engaged in this conversation. You are worth my investment of time. Please pour into me. Tell me your knowledge. I am an open ear. So that's if your feet are directly pointing to him. And then you have where your body is your feet are away from him, but your torso is back towards him. This says, actually, I'm not even interested in you. You bring either negative Nancy or something to the table that I don't agree with, and I'm trying to get out of this situation. So your feet are the most telling part of your body. Thank you, Brad, for your help there. Thank you. Good cap. Thank you. That was wasn't anything special there. To cap off with the feet too, even when people are sitting, I notice some of you are sitting here with your feet locked like this. That's a sign. It can be a sign of discomfort. It can be a sign of unease. If someone's leaning back in their chair like this is a sign of confidence. If you have a hand over the next chair next to you, that's also a sign of confidence. So the feet are a very telling part of your body, the most honest part of your body. Now, I do want to cap all of this and building some comfort around this. This isn't a sign of black and white, oh, this person's being dishonest, or oh, this person's at unease. These are just indicators. These are things that if they give enough indicators, then you could probably start making some judgments, if you will. But not to judge, but make assumptions, I guess, if you will. The next part of your hands too, going back to the hands, we talked about this being confident, this being discomfort. There's also some things you can do to position yourself to be a more attractive person. One of the things that he uses as far as the terminology in his book, he talks about people have a curb appeal. Just like if you're driving down the road and you see a beautiful home and a perfectly manicured lawn and the nice trimmed bushes, there's a curb appeal to that. So people have a curb appeal, and this is why I'm talking about this subject today, is because we're all in this room to be more effective communicators. We're all in this room to have some level of influence, and you can position yourself to be a better person in this area. Just to cap on a couple of those real quick, some of the most things that you can bring to the table is your dress attire. You know, one of the things that he says he looks for right away is your hair. Is it matted? Is it clean? Are you clean cut? These are some of the things that if you want to have influence in your life, to pay attention to these things. Simple things, if you're giving a speech, if you're talking to someone, even directly, you don't want to approach them looking down to them. You want to tilt your head and give a smile. He talks about define the lines of gravity. Arch your eyebrows. You know, I always imagine, not to discredit anyone from New York or the East Coast, but sometimes they'll say, hey, how you doing? The gravity has got a hold of their eyebrows. Versus you talk to someone in the Midwest, they might say, how y'all doing? The eyebrows are raised and full of energy. Very positive atmosphere. So again, just to build comfort around all this, I just wanted to talk about this because I think this is something that everyone can grab hold of and apply to their life instantly. There's obviously some more details in this. I would encourage you all to check out some of the YouTube videos from this gentleman, because this is something that you can apply in your life. Thank you very much.